It's almost 2 weeks since the Presidential Election Tribunal gave its verdict on the 2019 presidential election. And today, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has broken his silence on the verdict of the Election Tribunal, which dismissed all his petitions against the victory of Muhammadu Buhari of the APC. The former vice president appreciates his supporters for standing by him since his election and throughout the legal battle at the tribunal. He however hinted on why he is choosing to appeal the judgment of the tribunal, which affirmed President Buhari's victory, saying he's pursuing the judicial route to ensure that votes of Nigerians count and are counted. He says, quote, "We must return to being Africa's bastion of democracy, where the rights to freedom of speech and freedom after the speech are guaranteed. We must stand together to pursue this just cause all the way so that our judiciary are not afraid to do their jobs and have to be wary of blackmail, intimidation, and victimization," end of quote. He's also asking Nigerians to continue their support for these recourse to constitutional order via the courts. Let's get talking on this one. The implication of what Mr. Atiku Abubakar is saying. He did emphasize in a statement in one of the courts, in the statement released by his media office today. Mr. Abubakar says that it will ensure that Nigeria makes a course correction away from tyranny and towards democracy. And he did make also a statement saying it is for this cause and other patriotic reason that I'm pursuing the judicial route to ensure that the votes of Nigerians count and are counted. It does mean that he's fully in support of his lawyer's decision to appeal the case up to Supreme Court. I have in our Abuja studios tonight, my partner tonight on the program, Mr. Tunde Imolehin, a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization for 2 times now, and also Dr. Ben Ugwu, the Director General of Atiku Mandate Group. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let's get to the conversation. Let me begin with what the APC and Mr. Tunde Imolehin perhaps will get from the message from Mr. Atiku Abubakar. For this one comes out to me, he says that we will ensure that Nigeria makes a course correction away from tyranny and towards democracy. How do you read that statement?
Thank you very much, Seun, for inviting me this night to address the speech given by Citizen Atiku on the presidential election tribunal. The judgment has taken place, and of course it's 5-0, just the way my friend and legal advisor, national legal advisor of APC described it. That is, I'm talking about Babatunde Kwame Ogala. It's 5-0. In football, if your opponent defeated you with 5-0, what you do is that you make sure you are quiet. But since Atiku has decided that, yes, no, I'm not keeping quiet, nothing comes easy, I am going to fight it to the last. And it's covered and it's protected by the Constitution. Both the electoral law and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has given him the right to do the needful. And he has. And, but while I commend his decision to go to the Supreme Court, after all, our president actually passed through the same course. The only difference right now is that there's no vacancy. There's not likely to be any vacancy in Aso Rock till 2023. And Atiku can only be president after that, if at all. And all this, I can tell you, they would actually lead in futility. Because if you look at the situation, decision has been taken. And of course, apart from some elements and some characters in PDP, it's an unanimous decision and something that has been overwhelmingly accepted by the generality of Nigerians, so except PDP. So what we are seeing right now is the right of an individual to seek redress constitutionally and, of course, logically. And we see how it pans out. But let me just quickly tell you something. I want to really disagree with Citizen Atiku that there is tyranny in the polity, that there is oppression in the polity, that there's cruelty in this government. There is nothing like that. If there were cruelty, Citizen Atiku will not have the freedom to go back to, to go to Supreme Court. We don't have the opportunity of having a very sound, judgment, which was not in his favor. So what we are saying right now is that let democracy be deepened, as he has suggested, But of course, apart from the fact that Jada is once again in the public domain, we now know that, we also know again, as he has said earlier on, that he actually stole firewood to get rich. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. But
All
of
right,
course,
let
that
me
was
get
not
Dr.
tenderable,
Benugu's
at the Supreme
reaction
Court.
to this. Dr.
So
Benugu, how would you react to what Mr. Imolehin has said? Because a lot of people who are expected that Mr. Atiku Abubakar would have spoken up and just speaking now, how do you think that silence went to a lot of his supporters and Nigerians?
Sean, thank you for inviting me over to this platform. You see, like my brother just rightly said, he aired his view, which is the APC version. Atiku came at the right time. He's a leader who knows exactly what he wants. I want to put it categorically straightforward here, that the judgment of the tribunal, the Presidential Election Tribunal, on that fateful day, the judges that gave that verdict actually don't know what the law is all about. If they know what the law says, you can't come out and say that President Muhammad Buhari, with all due respect to him, that doesn't need a WAEC attachment, before becoming a president, that we need an affidavit. You see, Atiku Abubakar knows the law, and he knows the team, his legal team, the men and women working with him, actually knows how to interpret the law. So why we are going to the Supreme Court is to make sure that those judges there reinterpret what those judges, with due respect to them, gave Nigerians. You don't expect me, at my age, almost going to 50, should wake up one morning and tell my child, you don't need your first school leaving certificate, while you are writing your exam. Why do you don't even need WAEC before writing JAM? Are you getting me? So those things the judges said must be corrected. Those are fundamental issues that need to be addressed in the Supreme Court, so that I will know next time if I want to contest for president, I don't need to attach my certificate. The president did not say he lost his certificate. The president said his certificates were with the military secretary. So you are telling us two things. It's either you produce it, attach it, and give us a free air to breathe. You don't tell us A and do D. Concerning what is Atiku selling firewood, everybody has a beginning, including him seated here. President Muhammad Buhari had never told us his economic background, which Atiku did. Atiku told us that he sold firewood is part of contributing to the nation. If he sold firewood and he used that to educate himself and helped his mother, it's part of giving back to the nation. So I want to believe that, the Atiku is making the right step. He's going on the path which the supporters want him to forge towards. And I believe very well in the judiciary that they will not put us to shame. That come November, they will dispense the accurate judgment that was denied the PDP at the Presidential Election Tribunal. Thank you very much.
Let me come back to you, Mr. Imolehin. It does look, perhaps, or I don't know how you read it, some of the statement of Mr. Atiku Abubakar. Is it that our judiciary had done the wrong thing, but because of some of the words that he used in his statement? How do you read that?
I don't think Atiku Abubakar would decide or would have decided to head to the Supreme Court if he did not believe in the sanctity of the Supreme Court as the apex court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I don't think he does. I don't think he believes that he will not get justice. What we are addressing here, and I want to reestablish that, Sheil, you have invited me and Dr. Ben to come and address the public statement made by citizen Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President of Nigeria, on the decision, the judicial decision between himself and our president, and nothing else. For Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President, who is fighting to mean an election that had already been decided through the courts. To say that there is tyranny in Nigeria, that there is oppression in Nigeria, that there is cruelty in governance, I think is begging the question. I think that is a very, very unfortunate statement to make.
He said this, Mr. Imolehin, sorry. Let me put this to you, sorry. He said this, let me, just a moment, Mr. Imolehin. Mr. Imolehin, please, apologies, let me put this to you. Let me put this to you. There's a portion of Mr. Atiku's statement. He said, we must stand together to pursue the just cause all the way so that our judiciary are not afraid to do their jobs and have to be wary of blackmail, intimidation, and victimization. Does this portray perhaps what has happened in the last judgment?
Of course, I don't know what he is insinuating because it was a sound judgment. And now that he has disagreed, which he has a right to do, is heading to the Supreme Court. He cannot whip up sentiments against the state. He cannot, be emotional about a judicial judgment because everything is in the public domain. And that is the reason why he's going to the Supreme Court. They were needless. All those verbal diarrhea on whether there is tyrannical government or whether there is oppression, I think they were needless. He has taken a decision. And if he has anything against the judiciary, he should head to the Supreme Court. And that is what he has done. So they were all needless because there is no cruelty in governance in Nigeria. There is no oppression of any kind in Nigeria. And there is no despotism in Nigeria. And I stand to be corrected. So I would have given him a pass mark. But for that mistake, for that error, you see, I believe that by his decision, which has a precedence. Our president actually fought for his rights when he was denied, when he assumed he was denied, until he won an election. But for Atiku Abubakar, I don't see him becoming a president before 2023, if at all.
Well, we'll wait for the court to decide that.
Just an exercise in futility.
Dr. Ben Ugwu, come into the fray and reacts to some of the statement made by Mr. Atiku Abubakar. He's saying that, yes, those who do not want this as Nigeria's reality will use every trick in the book to undermine, discourage, misinform, and mislead. But with God's help and the support of Nigeria, we will ensure that Nigeria makes a course correction away from tyranny and towards democracy. What do you think he's talking about here?
Seun, the word democracy means government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And we have not experienced that for the past 4 years, getting to 5 years that President Muhammad Buhari has been in government. It's either you speak and you are arrested, Showore is in prison, and so many other journalists for speaking the truth. The judges that my brother here claimed that they dispense the judgment based on merit and judicial profession. I want to put it to you that they were scared of telling Buhari the truth. They were scared of dispensing the accurate judgment, that Nigeria was looking up to them for. You can't actually, be giving a judgment that your conscience is not supporting. The judges there gave conflicting judgments. One was supporting Sava, one was saying there is Sava, we hacked into Sava, one was saying there is no Sava. And President, I stand to be corrected that President Muhammad Buhari knows that he does not have a certificate. In fact, he should prove to us by showing us the original, not the one they went to manufacture from one university, one WAEC forced the directors to do something. So let me tell you the truth. Things that we must tell ourselves as Nigerians, as those who want things to happen. You see, Atiku Abubakar is a man who knows very well that this country is at the verge of collapse. There is no unity in this country. There is no love among Nigerians. And the only way to do this is to build a democratic state. And by doing that, we need to get the judiciary to dispense the accurate judgment that befits what transpired during the election.
Dr. Ben Ugwu,
my brother cannot sit here and say...
well, that's how time can permit us on the program. Thank you, Dr. Ben Ugwu, Director General of Atiku mandate group, and Mr. Tunde Imolehin, a chieftain of the APC and a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.